It's time for this week's episode of Brandon's Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon's Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon's Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Kansas City Chiefs training camp intern, Ellie Perrigo. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to work in professional sports?
I was really kind of like a trial and error type of thing. I started working in my college athletics department, and that was fun. Like I really enjoyed it. I started on the broadcast track for a little bit. I loved it, but it was more of a hobby, not like a passion per se. So then I was just like, okay, I know I want to work in sports. What can I do next? And so when I had my internship this summer, working with the Chiefs, I fell in love with it. It was like the perfect environment, the perfect place for me. So it was like I didn't really know at first that I wanted to work there. It was more just like I did it and found out that that's what I love.
Of course, what was it like working with ESPN doing the Super Bowl broadcasts?
It was a lot of fun. It was definitely one of my favorite experiences that I've had in my career so far. Um, it was very overwhelming. There was a lot going on. I worked two 12 plus hour days. Um, I drove I drove analysts and ESPN staff in a police escort to the game, which I had never done before. So that was overwhelming, but also thrilling at the same time. And it was just a lot of fun. It was something that I think really showed me what side of the industry I want to be on. And yeah, I loved it.
What were some of your favorite memories and moments, obviously covering the Super Bowl?
I had a lot of favorites. Probably, I'll give you two. So my first favorite memory was when I was driving um, the ESPN personnel to the Super Bowl. I had Booger McFarland, Joe Tessitore, Lisa Salters, and John Perry in my car, and we were about 5 minutes in to the drive to the stadium. And Booger McFarland looks at me and was like, "Have you ever done this before?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "I can tell you haven't blinked." And that just kind of like made me feel more relaxed because they all started laughing and I started laughing. And so it made the rest of the drive very much more relaxed. And then my second favorite part was coming back from the Super Bowl because on the way there, while it was still relaxed, it was still very uptight because they were like, we need to get there in time. We need to make sure that everything is taken care of. They had stuff that they needed to do still. So on the way back from the stadium, they were talking about the game, they were laughing, they just had like their personalities back. So it made it a lot more fun to drive them. And I got to connect with them as more than just people on the TV or people that work for ESPN. Like I actually got to know them. So the personal connections I made was probably my favorite part.
What was it like, obviously, working on the social media as an intern for Belly Up Sports?
Um, it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. So I had an internship the previous like 2 summers ago with Win Reality, where I was working also 12-hour days for 4 months, doing editing on my computer and posting social media and having a lot of like stuff to all. So when I got the internship with Belly Up Sport, I thought it was going to be the same thing. I thought I was going to be on my computer all day, working all the time, working with people in meetings, but it ended up being more of like they gave us room to be creative. They gave us like, okay, if you think it's a good thing to post, post it. They gave you articles that you absolutely had to post, but instead of working at over their entire social media, I was just in charge of the football Twitter account. So I had a very specific job, and it was the off season for football. So there wasn't a lot happening. So I had a lot of free time, which is why I ended up taking a second internship, just because I had so much free time that I was like, I don't really know what to do now. So, but I really enjoyed it. It was a great experience.
What was it like, obviously, getting the internship with the Kansas City Chiefs?
Honestly, this is kind of a funny story because it was very underwhelming when I got it, when I probably should have been a lot more excited. I they didn't really describe exactly what it was in the description of like when we were applying. It kind of made it sound like you were going to be working for Missouri Western State University, which is where training camp was held. So because you had to like have credits, like you had to, it was basically like a class. So I was kind of like, oh, that doesn't seem like it would be a good idea. Like, I don't know if I should do it. But I applied in March, totally forgot about it, had my internship with Belly Up, was just kind of I was actually shadowing for a sports marketing firm one night for an event, and I got an email from Reagan Dodd, who was our head internship leader for the school, and she just sent an email that was like, "Oh, it's a really exciting time. Like, select a date and time for an interview. I'm looking forward to talking to all of you." But it was a mass email to a bunch of people, so I was like, "Okay, well, everybody's gonna get it, or it's not like a selective internship." So I had my interview like a week later. I got it then, like after my interview the next day, I got an email that I got the internship, and I just kind of let it sit because I was like, I'm not going to take it, but I have a week to respond, so I'll think about it, I guess. And I went to talk to my dad, and he was like, "You're crazy if you don't do it. You have to do it. Like, I'm making you do it." Like, so I was like, "Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. Like, I know it'll be fun." But so I decided to do it, and it was the best experience I've ever had. I thought at first the Super Bowl was my like the best experience, but then I took this internship and it blew it out of the water. Um, so I was very underwhelmed at first, but I'm very thankful that I did do it.
What was it like, obviously, working training camp for the Kansas City Chiefs as an intern?
It was really different, but really exciting because you kind of just like do all of the daily prep, and then during the event you kind of have like a station, um, and then in the afternoon you kind of have like the whole day free to do what you want, and you can either use that to network with people you and that work in other departments, or you could take a nap or go to the gym. um, but being an intern, it kind of gave you an insider perspective of everything that it takes to put on an event, and all the different components that take to put on an event. So you kind of just see like everything come together in a way that you wouldn't see if you were just showing up to camp. So it was awesome. Like I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Of course, working in training camp, what was it like seeing players like Patrick Mahomes come in and obviously work in training camp?
Well, this year was a little bit different because of COVID, so we didn't get to really interact with the players very much because they had tiers. So players and everyone that worked directly with players were tier 1, and then there was a tier 2 and a tier 3, and we weren't tiered at all. Neither was any of the event staff. So we didn't eat in the same building, we didn't sleep in the same building, and we didn't like where we worked wasn't on the training camp field. So the only times we would really ever see them is if they were driving around, or if they were leaving a building or going into a building. But other than that, like it was still really cool to see them, but we just didn't really get to interact with them.
What were some of your favorite memories and moments of working the Kansas City Chiefs training camp?
I think my favorite one of like some of my favorite memories came with the people that I worked with. There were 26 of us, and they all like we were all very close. Like they're 25 of my closest friends. So we all just got very close. We had connections with each other. We weren't like a cliquey group. We all were just one unit that hung out together, whether we were working training camp in the mornings or whatever we were doing in the afternoon, we were all doing it together and we all had a similar background. So we all thought like we were all just like-minded people. And that was probably my favorite part of the entire internship, was getting to know the people in my internship and also the people that I was working with that worked for the Chiefs. So I still talk to my director and my boss from training camp, and they just want to help in any way that they can. Like they're there as a support system for us. So it's not like it was just an internship and then they kick you to the curb and you never talk to them again. Like they actually want to help you succeed. They want to be there for you. They want to see you be successful in your career. So meeting people, interacting with people, connecting with different people in different departments was definitely my favorite part of camp.
What are some of your things that you learned, obviously, while working training camp in the NFL?
Something that I learned was how to put on a successful event, and then also how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because you kind of just get thrown into situations that you aren't really prepared for. So, for example, one day at training camp, we had a lightning delay, and people weren't leaving camp, and we were trying to like get them all out because we had to find shelter as well. And so there's people yelling at us, hiding under metal tents, and we're like, guys, it's lightning. Metal's probably not the best place to hide. Please go back to your cars. And they just didn't want to leave. They were like, no, like the lightning's above us. Why would I walk back to my car and get struck by lightning? And that kind of showed me that I was like, okay, I thought people would just leave, but you have to like tend to them. You have to be very like meticulous in how you respond to people, because you don't want to make them upset. Like they're our fans and customers, and that's what we're there to please them. We're not trying to make anybody upset. So you just kind of learn how to like deal with customer service, but also like deal with situations that you just get thrown into and you don't really know exactly how to handle them. So you just kind of figure it out on the fly. Even if it's a little bit uncomfortable, you still have to do it. So it's just learning how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and learning how to move in a fast-paced environment and be successful.
What are some of your future plans as you begin your professional career?
Well, still trying to figure that out. My ideal situation would be working for an NFL team when I graduate at the end of May. So I don't really have a preference of what team. And I don't even if I don't start in the NFL, I would do NBA, MLB, NHL, literally any professional sports team. I'd also do minor leagues. So I just really want to get my foot in the door in sports in general. I don't really have a set path in stone because I know sports is very competitive. And it's not something that you can just go anywhere and be like, yeah, okay, I think I'm going to do this today. Like you really have to have a passion for it because sports is a lifestyle. It's not a 9-to-5 job. So I'm just willing to take whatever comes my way. So
That's wonderful. What advice would you give people looking to work in professional sports?
um always be willing to do things that not everybody is gonna want to do. So I learned that from someone at training camp. Actually, it was the communications director, and he was basically telling us like what you need to do is don't think anything is below you. Don't think anything you're like, oh, I don't really want to do that. Like even if you don't want to do it, just say yes, because you never know what it will lead to. And for me this summer as well, because I originally wasn't going to take the training camp internship, and I ended up doing it, and it was the best thing I could have ever done, the best professional experience I could have gotten. So just never say no. Just do whatever it takes to get you where you want to be, and be resilient about it. Ask questions. Be curious. Don't let someone get in your way, and one no deter you from the entire career. Like one no is just closing that door and opening a door at another place. So just be persistent, persevere, and always just say yes to everything, even if you don't want to.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
My Instagram is at Ellie Perrigo, and that's the same as my Twitter as well.
Thank you again, Ellie Perrigo, for your interview, and best of luck in your future wherever you may go in professional sports.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Ellie, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.